Meanwhile, women in Afghanistan too are bearing the brunt of the crisis, as the Taliban so far has failed to live up to its promises of offering a more moderate and inclusive style of leadership. The group has not fulfilled the commitments regarding the education of girls, women's rights, and an all-inclusive government. Afghan women especially are afraid of their future, and they are staging protests and demanding their voices to be heard. A report.
The Taliban, after the fall of Kabul, vowed to form a moderate and inclusive government which would respect women's rights and provide stability in the region. But the reality in Afghanistan is far different from the commitments the insurgent group initially made. Across Afghanistan, the Taliban seem to have been busy erasing women and girls from all aspects of public life. Even their images on posters and billboards, once common, have been painted over. As their male classmates are going to school, millions of teenage girls across Afghanistan are still anxiously waiting to return to the classrooms. Women are compelled to march through the streets of Afghanistan, demanding their rights to education and work, while urging their voices to be heard by the international community.
صدای ما را آیا خانم ما حق نداره که در جامعه فعال باشه؟ آیا حق کار کردن نداریم؟ آیا ما فعلا حق نفس کشیدن نداریم؟
On one hand, Afghan women are demanding their rights to education, and on the other hand, those who have already obtained professional success now fear for their lives. Afghanistan has roughly 500 registered women lawyers and about 250 women judges who carried out dangerous work even before the Taliban took power. But many of them are now leaving the country as they fear that they could be tracked down and killed because of their work delivering justice to women. They have good reason to be afraid. In January, 2 judges of the Afghan Supreme Court were shot dead in Kabul. Many of the women legal officials are receiving threats from Taliban, and their loved ones are at risk of persecution from the Islamist group.
بله قضات و دیگه همکارای ما و خانمایی که کارمند دولت بودن اینا 100% در خطر هستن. همچنان فامیلی ما که اونجا مانده، ما تنها 4 نفر خود کشیدیم از اعضای خانواده ما، همه در خطر هستن. واقعا اونا را خطر تهدید میکنه، نگرانشان هستیم. ما درسته که اینجا آرام هستیم ولی روحاً ما نارام هستیم، چون همکارای ما فامیلی ما در اونجا در خطر.
Women are a major part of the force of community health workers in Afghanistan, but fearing violence and Taliban retaliation, many have left the country. Afghanistan's hospitals are grappling with the fallout of a rapidly spreading economic crisis that has threatened millions with hunger. And for the medical team, it is the acute staff shortage that is causing the heaviest strain. In Kabul's main children's hospital, the crumbling of Afghanistan's health system can be seen in the eyes of the exhausted staff who have remained in the city. Nurses, who once took care of 3 to 4 babies each, are now having to look after 20 or more.
هیچ مشکلات زیاد است دیگه، چیز نداریم. به خاطر همون هر جای که رفتیم نتونستیم پیسه شکل پیش دکتر جای ببریم. 5 طفل دارم، 1 طفلک دیگه ما به مریضی مرد. چیز نداشتیم که به خاطر که ببرمش پیش دکتر یک چیزی. حال تو یک بیلر داشتیم، فروختم گیر آوردیم تا بیجه.
Millions of lives in Afghanistan depend on how the Taliban government chooses to rule the country. But the Islamist group, as per current behavior, doesn't deserve legitimacy. Therefore, humanitarian aid to it should be given in kind and not in cash, which is unlikely to reach the needy people. Taliban needs to be given a hard choice, either to accept the terms on women's rights or manage the crisis. The insurgent group doesn't accept the terms, the converse could be disastrous, as it is not a popular regime. A humanitarian crisis could soon turn into a fresh wave of violence against the regime.